All right, let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is basically a various topics dated October 21st, 2024, the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. And as you can see, it's been an exciting and eventful year. You know, a lot of prophecies and a lot of things have been happening, you know, as each year goes by. I mean, we're already like in the third week of October. You got 2 months and about a week left of this month. Of this year before it's over, and all kind of stuff going on. You know, not just prophecies popping off everywhere, but the time is just speeding up and moving a lot faster than it used to. You know, and there's a reason for it, and it's because we're pretty much at the end of times, and everything in the Lord's program and His plans has a beginning and an ending. You know, so we'll start off with that scripture. I just watching. I didn't finish watching it. You know, I watched about 55 minutes so far, but I already had this lesson lined up. I don't have anything, you know, per se in any topic, but I was drawing inspiration from the video the elder pastor just did. He was going into the age of an empire, and you know, the talk out there, even when you type it in on Google, or you know, you do research, they say the average age of an empire is like 250 years. Um, and America is there, 249. It's actually long overdue, because Esau got here way before 1776, but that is what they use as a starting point of their empire. So come this year coming up, 2025, which we're just about there, that'll make it 249 years. And in 2026 would be exactly 250 years, you know, that this empire has been running, you know, pretty much on the planet. And you could see that just from the time when they imposed the Federal Reserve System, and I'll say a little less than 40 years after that, they made the that same federal note, Federal Reserve note, which is the dollar bill, the world reserve currency. You see the nations of the world in a worse situation than they were back then. Now, as far as making money, they made a lot of money, a lot of progress. They build up their infrastructure. They pretty much build up their countries to look like America. But now they're feeling the downturn of it. And pretty much the ones that are really benefiting the most are, you know, the international banking families that provide these nations with monetary help are pretty much just funneling that money back out through American corporations, which are owned by the rich international banking families. So, you know, there's nothing new there. I was just watching the video earlier of the brother Elder Yawakanan, where he was highlighting a video of this Aboriginal woman from, you know, from Australia, cursing out, you know, King Charles and telling him, "You're not my king. You're not our king. You know, we want our land back. You know, give us our land back. Give us what you stole back, our people, their bones, our children, so on and so forth." She was cursing them out. And pretty much this is a sign of the nations waking up to this devil and to the horrors that they've committed upon the planet Earth. And England, which is the top ruler on the planet, which America is, but England behind the scenes is running things from the city-state of London, which is run by the Rothschilds. You know, they have used America as what I believe that was Anthony J. Hilder, that said that America is the great patsy. They're just using this place as the puppet. So everything that you see in the world has time and chance. Matter of fact, let's start off with that, and then we'll jump into this. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 9. Like I said, I didn't really have anything, but I felt compelled in the spirit to go live. And we just follow the spirit. Sometimes you have a lesson with a whole bunch of precepts. Sometimes a whole bunch of precepts and ideas and titles come to mind. Sometimes you have nothing, but you feel the urge, and that's when you hit the button and just let it loose. Let the spirit, work. Because that's what Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's Holy Spirit does. So Ecclesiastes, matter of fact, let me get the other one now that it's still fresh in my mind so I don't forget it. That way we could just click back and forth. And then there's one more after that in the same book that I like to go to these because these are in the spirit. These are, these setup lessons. You have setup scriptures. Like you have a jab. The jab is a setup for the actual punch you want to throw. So these are like setup scriptures. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 11. I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to the men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill. So out of all of the observations that the King Solomon made, he figured, look, this is not the reason why men progress in this society or in the world. It's not for any of these reasons, but this is the reason. But time and chance happeneth to them all. So everyone has a time and everyone has a chance to rule. And all nations had their moments in the sun to rule. Going all the way back to the beginning of time, coming up into the Egyptian Empire, coming into the time of Judges when you had different nations that were ruling, Moab and Ammon and the Philistines and, all of these different nations. And then coming up into the next major empire, which was the Assyrio/Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greeks, the Romans, the Byzantine Empire, and all the way till today, which is the American Empire, which is the last empire of Esau on the planet. So you have all of these different times when men ruled, on the planet, There you go. Shalom, shalom. Gotcha, Shabbat. Huh? Oh, I'm already on. Shabbat. So the the smoothies in the fridge. Yeah, so all these different empires ruled. But if you notice, people that study history, they notice one thing is that you have empires that rise and empires that fall. Matter of fact, let me type that and see what that says. What does that mean? Empires rise and empires fall. Let's see what they say for meaning. I mean, we know what it means, just but what history teaches us about the rise and fall of empires. Empires rise and most certainly fall. Well, all empires rise, all empires fall. The only empire that's not going to fall is the empire of Yahushai, which is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, his empire that's not going to ever fall. It says empires rise, and really should have said empires fall. It says of most interest to me, though, are the periods between. It is interesting to note varying from case to case and almost inverse relationship between the enticed decadent. Here we go with the bullshit. Like Elder Pastor said, that verbal salad. Pretty much what makes empires rise and fall is the valuing of their currency, the falling apart of their military, and the loss of influence among the people that they have conquered, and the loss of the ability to strong, to strong arm the people that they've been, that they have conquered. And that's why it comes to a point like the woman out there in Australia was cursing the so-called king of England out, that fake fraud, and she was telling him, you're not my king, you're not our king.
Give us our land back.
Give us our land back. Because they're these nations are seeing that they're tired of your ass. And they've all come to the conclusion that there's one major problem on the planet Earth. Is you damn devils, you Edomites. You had something? Oh, okay. Now the spirit's jumping over there on D-Mash. So, I was just trying to see if they had like let me see some. Let me see what this says. Just interested to see what this says. The rise and fall of empires, examining the enduring cultural legacies. Let's see. This is going to be a lot of verbal salad with um, let's see. Our journey societal evolution. Their rise often heralds the influence of their culture. They have a sense of, something new, a change. They have something to offer that people want. So they'll come to it, like America at one time being called the Golden City. What the hell? All right. It says, we notice empires have long captivated our collective imagination, economic and cultural prosperity, with empires leaving indelible marks on the civilizations they encounter and absorb. The extension of an empire's influence and territory can inspire remarkable advancements in art, science, technology, and governance, cementing a legacy that persists long after the empire's decline. Right, like the Roman Empire. That's why when America was established, unbeknownst to the so-called founding fathers, this left a lasting impression, and other empires that followed, imitated a lot of the cultures and military strategies and different other things that they got from the ancient Roman Empire. But what the so-called founding fathers didn't realize is that when they had the idea to set up America as as was Rome, it was because it was prophecy in the making, and it was the Most High working on their spirit, on their mind to do this, because the Lord, His words don't go out void. Period. Let's see if there's any more on this, and then, like I said, we'll go back to that precept that I had. Yet the lifespan of an empire is fraught with challenges, internal strifes, and external pressures. That's why Yahweh said a kingdom that is divided, cannot stand. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick, and then we'll come back. Let me see. Come on. See, kingdom divided. All right, Matthew 12:25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Matter of fact, let's see what that word there for divided is. I mean, we know what divided means, but let's see what this says, and then we're going to go to a couple of the translations. The word there is merizo, merizo. Okay, see now Blue Letter changed this shit up again. They're always changing some shit, but this is kind of cool though. Merizo, right? To divide, to separate into parts, cut into pieces, right? Because now you have the different parts of this union operating separately, so they're not operating as one entity. They're operating as separate entities. So eventually, the mechanism is going to break down. To divide into parties, you have your Republicans and your Democrats, and then you also have those that are that have that are what's the word I'm looking for? Patriotic, and those that are not. An example, be split into factions, and that's why in the book of Revelation, right? Let's get that, and we'll come back to this. Revelation chapter 13, and we're going to come right back to that. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 11, it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. This is America, rising up from the ashes, or America is the phoenix rising up from the ashes of ancient Rome. If you could receive it, And he had two horns like a lamb. These two horns represented two opposing or seemingly opposing parties of the Democrats, Republicans. Back then, you had the plebeians and patricians. The plebeians were, like the Democrats today, if I'm not mistaken, and the patricians would be like the Republicans today. The patricians were the higher ups. The ones that were rich. So on and so forth. The Democrats are supposed to be for the people. All right, so this is a division in the kingdom of Esau today. Dealing with here in America. So we go back, right, to the word merizo, and that's the main point. It's divided. So a kingdom that is divided against itself is brought to what? Desolation. Let's look up the word desolation. The word desolation is eremu, eremuau, to lay waste. See, bring to, make desolate, come to naught. So that's what? A decline in empire. So we're witnessing the decline in empire through internal strifes, economic woes, people losing faith in the so-called government, people in the military not wanting to fight because they have this patriotic mind state, and then when they go to fight the war, they find out what the war is really all about, and then they have a change of heart. That's why you see a lot of those veterans coming back. Like you could watch the movie Born on the 4th of July. He went over there. He was all patriotic. He got he got hit with some shrapnel. Mm-hmm. And there's an inside joke. He got hit with some shrapnel, and he became paralyzed. Yeah, through. So he came back and said, you know what? The war is all bullshit. And he started to really speak out against the war and the American government and their injustice. You want to say something?
Yeah, the U.S. military is really a gang of assassins. The government used the military to assassinate people that don't fit their policies.
Mercenaries.
Yep, mercenaries. Yep. They're just the elite personal group of mercenaries. All these military factions.
That's heavy.
Yep.
Hey, what's crazy that I've been trying to get this lesson going for a minute, but Spirit kept having me stall. And as soon as I get started, who walks through the door? All right, so let's see what else we got here. So it comes to desolation. I mean, it comes apart. Like the word destruct, is it destruction? Yep, the word destruction means to destruct, meaning you have a structure that was built, and if you destroy that structure, you're taking that structure back apart. So the structural closeness, for lack of better words, of the American society has been, you know, um, scattered because everyone, has different views, and they push that on the people. That's why the Lord said that America is the land where you have freedom of religion. Freedom of religion equates to what the scriptures call the mother of harlots. And the mother of harlots is what? You can worship whatever religion you want. But yet, still in all, they claim that America is a Christo-Judean country. So if you are a Muslim, or if you are a Hamite, and you want to worship the gods of your country, which the gods of the, most gods of the Hamites are either Catholic or Islam, either or, But then you have other factions of religions there, that go back to their ancestral, worship of their gods. So you can worship all that here in America. So there's a division everywhere you turn. So this is why the Lord called this place Babylon the Great, which Babylon just simply means confusion. All right, and as you can see here, the word city, which is palace, that's where you get the word for city, palace. You have policy, because a policy is passed, and the citizens of that city, country, state, or whatever the case may be, have to follow behind it. All right. So going back, I'm going. Salakia, feeling a little silly. Where Okay, so we were in Ecclesiastes. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes, chapter 9 and verse 11. So I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift nor the. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me go back to this article here. It says, yet the lifespan of an empire is fraught with challenges, internal strifes, and external pressures can unravel the taut fabric of power and dominance. Right. So America is losing that power and dominance on the world. That's why it tells us in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, right? And verse 5, yea, also because he transgressed thy wine, he is a proud man. And what is that wine? These are his policies, beginning with his democracy. His democracy is the main thing that he's pushing on the world. There's a meme that somebody put together, right? And it says, come to democracy or democracy will come to you. And they have this plane dropping bombs. And that's pretty much what the size of it. And even if America doesn't directly, fire or wage war on a particular nation, it does it through proxy. It'll use another nation, and it'll fund that other nation with weapons and money to fight that war for them.
Yep, like this war that's going on now with Russia and Ukraine. America's funding that war, giving them weapons.
Yes, sir.
Because this country is used to being able to manipulate their way into causing their like the scriptures say, their craft to prosper, to forward their enterprise, to forward their policies. This country is used to getting their way. You're thinking, all these other countries are dumb. That we'll sign them. We'll either threaten them into playing our position, or we'll give them the promise of a better future, and nothing ever happens. And now everybody knows, it's a farce. This whole promise of a better future is a farce, And another thing, because the prophets are out on the street corners and everybody knows about us now, other people are starting to speak out. You've seen that uprising, pretty much uprising again in New York on 34th and 7th. Hey, that was spiritual, right where the apostles them used to speak at. Now you got Gad on horses, parading in that same area. Yep, cursing these devils out as need be so. Hey, but the Lord is shaking up the tribes, man. The Lord is putting a spirit on the tribes to rise up, man.
Can you read that back in Prophetic chapter 2 and verse 5?
Come on, I got you.
Yeah, because that's pretty much what's going on now, worldwide, all over the planet.
Can. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. It says, yeah, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man. It says, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death. Everywhere he goes, there's some death follows. Dude, they got the people in Africa, they're turning back U.S. ministry doctors or whatever. They're coming to say, look, we're trying to help. They're turning them away now because they've went over there and they've caused so much death. That one time they gave them an experimental vaccine and killed 9 children over there in Africa. So it's like, so now the word is spreading. They're like, we don't want you over here. Now they're kicking people out because well, he is as death. It says he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. He can't be satisfied with money. He can't be satisfied with women. He can't be satisfied with blood.
Yeah, he's an insatiable devil.
Yeah, those are appetites that are insatiable. Like the apostle said, those are appetites that he has that are insatiable and unquenchable. This dude will have all the women in the world chasing him. He have a yacht full of women. But it's something kicking him. Oh, I want a kid. I want a baby.
That's the devil for you. Hey, well, that's why, as the ruler of the people are, so are the people. Because the scriptures speak about, this place, America, being called Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. This is the abominations of the earth. Because why? The man of sin, the man of abominations is ruling. But just the way they look is an abomination. They are the people of the Most High's curse, and the Lord is jacking them up. So what they're doing is indirectly working on the left-hand side for the Lord. And that's why they're pushing these policies that even if they didn't want to do this, they feel compelled in their spirit to do it because it says that they can't sleep unless they do some type of evil. Yeah. So it's it's embedded in their DNA. It's embedded in their spirit to do evil. They can't do good. May you do good that are accustomed to do evil. And the answer to that is no. They can't do good because they're not built or wired that way. You're not going to go against what the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai made you to be, or matter of fact, let's go to, Elder D-Mass, can you grab that real quick?
Yes, sir.
Can you grab Romans chapter 9? What is that? What is who has resisted the will of the Most High? Romans 9:17, is it something like that? 19, and there's another part there where it says what makest thou, or why make, I forget exactly how it's worded. Brothers know what I'm talking about. It might be a couple of verses up from that. You know what I'm talking about? Let me just get there, go there real quick. Let me see if I can find it. I mean, if I was to word it right, you know what I'm talking about. I just can't think of how it's actually worded. Right. Start at 19.
Current. Romans 9:19. Thou wilt say then unto me, why doth he yet find fault? For who hath resisted his will?
Right. So no one's resisted the Lord's will. So why is the Lord going to destroy this place if he set it up this way, and he set it up for the wicked to be the wicked, for, certain Israelites not to get this word, for the nations to be evil or wicked, for Esau to be just straight up a demon. Why is he still find fault? Well, because it's his plans. He's the one that set it up this way, and it's going to go down the way he wants it to go down. Go ahead.
It says it says, why doth he yet find fault? Who have resisted his will?
Go ahead.
It says, nay, O man, who art thou that repliest against the Most High? Shall the thing formed say unto him that formed it, yea, hast thou made me dust? Why hast thou made me dust?
Right. So they can't say, why did you make me to be the wicked? The Lord created you to be the wicked, period. Mm-hmm. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no, asking why. It's just the way the Lord set it up. When you have, producers out there, right, that make movies, they have an idea for a movie. And when they create the movie, you usually have a protagonist and an antagonist. You have a good guy and a bad guy, Now the bad guy in the movie can't say, "Look, I don't want that part," because if the producer has a part in mind or a movie in mind, and he has certain actors that's going to play the good guy and one's going to play the bad guy, the guy that's going to play the bad guy can't say, "Well, look, I want to play the good guy. I don't want to play the bad guy." Guess what? He ain't going to be in the movie unless he takes the part that the producer gives him. Bottom line. So no one can say, well, why did the Lord make? Well, the Lord made you that way because the Lord has a plan. Just like Judas Iscariot couldn't change his position. He couldn't change his position with another one of the disciples and said, look, I don't want to betray the Lord. One of y'all got to betray him. So I want to switch. Or Lord, can you please switch my part with somebody else? I don't want to play this part. It don't work like that. All right. So the main point here also is in the 19th verse is, thou will say then unto me, why does he yet find fault? For who has resisted his will? So the reason why Esau is doing what he's doing is because the Most High got him doing what he's doing. Bottom line, he created them to be the wicked, and God damn it, he's going to be the wicked. So back in Habakkuk 2:5, it says, yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. And this is his problem. And this was the problem with the ancient Roman Empire. They spread their empire too thin. They spread their army too thin, their money too thin. And eventually the whole implosion came. Why? Because the Lord set them up to rule for a period of time. And he said that this particular empire, the Roman Empire, was going to fall, and they were going to be pretty much under that dark cloud or in that prison sentence for a period of 1,000 years. And that's when Jake took over and governed, what is known today as so-called Europe in those areas. And then when you view history today, the history that they teach you today is all so-called white people. Even that dude, the Metatron, whatever the hell his name is, which I know the Apostle Bar sometimes watches that guy. And, he brings out a lot of good info. But, he said that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he said that the Moors were so-called white. He said that's a goddamn lie. The word Moor itself means, brown, because of they were brown skinned. So it's like history has been so whitewashed that even individuals that have some knowledge of history are still even confused to certain parts of history. It's crazy. But this is what the devil has done. So he doesn't keep at home. It says, who enlarges his desire as hell. What is hell? Hell is the grave. Can the grave ever be filled? No. People are always dying. Graves are always being filled. Mm-hmm. So his appetite for taking stuff from people is insatiable. Dimash. You know, his appetite is insatiable. You know, and is as death. Death, the scriptures say that death and hell are never full in the book of Proverbs. So this is how his insatiable appetite for taking people's shit and for being evil is. You know, just like we have a insatiable appetite to do the work of the Lord, to continuously do the work, and when we don't do the work, we feel depressed. You know, we feel hurt. We feel like the Lord is taking the spirit from us. You know, we feel like kicked to the curb, and we're not happy until the Lord inspires us to do a lesson or gives us an idea, you know, to put something together for a lesson. That's how Esau is with wickedness. He is not happy unless he's doing wickedness or contriving wickedness or conjuring up wickedness. That's why it says that they accomplish a diligent search.
Yeah. I got a scripture.
Bring it out.
This is Micah 2:1.
Beautiful.
Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand.
You could speak on it.
You know, my thing is, you know, whenever you got court, it's early in the morning. You know, and when you go to court, you look at these devils, they be in their happy because they about to fuck over Jake.
Yep.
You know, it says
Cha-ching. Line them up.
Yep. Another thing, we used to start, like when I was in the military, we used to start missions real early in the morning. You know, like they call it 0 dark 30. You know, when you go out under the cover of darkness early in the morning to go and surround court, you do what's called cordon and search. You surround the village. You surround the village with vehicles, and you let nobody out and in, and then you send the ground troops in there to go from house to house.
Now you know what that movie's about.
Yep. They call that cordon and search, man. You know, and that's gonna be happening here in America.
Which means you're cording things off.
Mm-hmm.
You're cutting stuff off.
Yep.
You got it.
Yep. It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence. That's what the uprising is here in America with the Gadites. And
yeah.
That's what's going on over there. What was that Aussie chick was cussing out the King Charles?
Yep.
You know,
because it's the same thing over and over again.
People are tired, man.
Fed up.
Yeah, fed up.
Hey, the Dutch, the English, the Americans,
mm-hmm.
the Spanish, the Portuguese, same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they cover fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house,
Woo!
Even a man and his heritage. They oppress the so-called Gadites. You know what I'm saying? Sent them to all kind of reform schools, took away their heritage. They're right. You know, brought us over here, oppressed us. You know, everybody that's connected to us is oppressed by this man in some type of way. In some type of way, he's oppressed. They're taught to be divided amongst each other. One tribe, one of our tribes is taught to hate another tribe. This tribe is taught to hate that tribe. You know, they instigate beasts between the tribes to try to keep us separated.
Divide and conquer.
But regardless of anything that he does, the Lord is going to bring us back together, regardless.
Yeah, because there's a remnant.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gonna stop the remnant.
The familiarity of being oppressed by the same man is no longer going to be misunderstood.
Right.
You know, people gonna say, you know what?
The common enemy.
Yep. They bring tribes from the South America, the islands. They bring them in here and say, don't fuck with the black people in America. They ain't shit. You know. Now I've actually heard people say this. That don't have any dealings with the so-called black man in America. You know, they ain't shit. They the worst kind of people and this and that.
And then you ask them like why? They can't give you an answer because it's just something that's been repeated to them and they're repeating.
Yep. And then they get over here and they find out that we really the cool ones. You know, and then they be like,
then they feel the Esau is the ones that is the fucked up ones.
yeah, that's what they find out, man. No, but it take them a while to find out that because they're like, damn, you know, they got the stigma,
Yeah.
you know, in their minds. But all of that's gonna be, hey, the Lord is about to break all that shit up.
A proverb and a byword. That's what we become to the nations.
Yep. Hey, because the ones that's leading this country, they failing. They failing, and they're gonna be so, the Lord gonna have them so focused on this economy and war that they're gonna start forgetting to oppress us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then when they do oppress us, it's gonna be violence. And his true nature, like he's hidden his nature for so many years because he's had control. He's had the liberty. He's had that's a word I was looking for. Well, he's pretty much had the liberty to do whatever he wants. You know,
Carte blanche.
Yep. Jake, cop shoots at Jake. They shot that woman for saying the Lord rebuked you. They shot the woman.
Yep.
You know, ain't nothing happened. You know,
who's possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
Yep. But it says, therefore, thus said the Lord. Therefore, thus said the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil.
Yeah, so you know, at one point that applied to Jake, that now that applies to Esau. Because remember, Deuteronomy 37 is in effect, or starting to come into effect against Esau.
Yeah.
And the nations. Was that in on that, Elder D-Mash?
No, that was.
All right, so we're gonna go back to Habakkuk, the middle of 2, Habakkuk 2, middle of 5. Who enlarges the desire of his hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied. So they're going to continue to rob. But gathereth unto him all nations, you know, New World Order, one world system, one world government, and heapeth unto him all people. And that's what he's doing. That's why he's in these different countries, systematically breaking these nations down to gather them all together. And that's where you see unions popping up everywhere. The African Union, the European Union, the American Union, so on and so forth. They're trying to gather everything into one pot to control everything. And that's why they're bringing in online, or which they already have, this digital system, to where if you don't comply with the system, you get cut out. So you either comply, get with the program, or you get shut out. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him? And that's what the nations are saying. And say a taunting proverb against him, say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? Yankee, get out of my land, go home. In the case of the fake British, you know, King Charles, he's from England, so-called, and that woman from Australia, who was part of the people that was there before these devils got there, are cursing him out, which you know that her maternal line had to go back to Esau because those Aborigines of Australia were, you know, dark skin, you know, brown skin, you know, but they did mingle with Esau, you know, so she looks a lot lighter than the average Aborigine, you know, but she was, you know, adamant in speaking against that devil. Say, you're not our king, you're not my king. You know, we want our land back, we want our children, our you know, pretty much all of the murders that you committed there to steal that land and the resources. It says, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, and this is a problem. And this is why Esau, the Rothschilds, wanted to set up a central bank, because they wanted to put the people in debt, because they understood that it's easier to enslave a nation of people by putting them into debt and having them voluntarily be into debt and voluntarily become a slave than to just conquer them. It's a lot easier and a lot cheaper, you know, instead of just waging war on people and putting them into slavery. Because if you put people into slavery straight up, you know, eventually they're going to rebel. You know, people think that Jake, you know, when they brought Jake over here in slavery, that Jake just, you know, all slaves were just, you know, down with the program. I'm a slave, so I'm gonna die a slave, so I might as well just be the best slave I could be.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. You had a lot of revolts that took place in this country, just in this country alone. A lot of slave revolts took place because Jake wasn't having it. You know, same thing with Gad. Reuben. The other tribes, the Northern Kingdom. When Esau came here, you had those that complied and those that rebelled. You had different, major players, for lack of better words, in history that stood up against this devil, that are still lauded to this day by the Aborigines of on this side of the world. Like Cacique Hatue. He stood against. He rebelled against the Spaniards. They fled from Hispaniola, I believe it was. It was either Hispaniola or Puerto Rico, and they fled to Cuba, what they call Cuba today. And him and the men that were with him, they went up into the mountains and they were doing raids on Esau, fucking Esau up. So there were always rebellions against Esau for what they're doing. So it's no different now that these nations are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So when they set up this whole system, the central bank system, and that's why they were waging war on America, because the first two central banks, going back to the 17 and 1800s, were shut down because they only had a 20-year what's the word 20-year charter. And when both of those charters were up, they were both shut down. The charters of the first two central banks in America. And that caused wars to happen. Then what happened was they finally set up the Federal Reserve System, and they set it up to make it seem like a governmental agency, so that they wouldn't shut down, so that it didn't have a charter. And that's why it's been over 100 years, and that system is still in place. And that's what they wanted control of the money for. Give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes the laws. And when they took control of that, they pretty much enslaved the world. And that's why it says here, to him that ladeth himself in thick clay. So for those of you that don't know, when you go to that word thick clay, it's not talking about clay that you get from the ground. All right. When you go to that, the word thick clay is ibat yat. And ibat yat, right, which is a Hebrew word, means something pledged. Now, when you pledge something, like scriptures speak about not to become a surety. Like you say, well, look, if you lend me this money, then be assured that I'm gonna pay you this back with interest, and if I don't, then you got me as a slave, or my home, or my land, or blah blah. Don't make pledges like that. Those are sureties. That's pretty much a surety. Surety or sureties is pretty much collateral. When you go to get a loan from a bank, they want collateral. They want assets that you have that are worth something, like homes, lands, cars, things of substance that have value to them. Equity, right? They don't want, just your word. So that's what these pledges are. So what Esau did by this thick clay, or ibatyat, let's see, pawn goods. Right, you have to pawn your goods. Thick clay, let's see, weight of pledges right here, heavy debts. And this is what they put the world in heavy debts, by setting up a system of paper money with exorbitant interest. That's what usury is. And that's how they got the world to get entangled into this debt, this heavy debt. And the nations are feeling the pinch. That's why it says the nations have drunk of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. They're pissed off at this devil. And that's why you have the so-called aborigines of these lands cursing these devils out and telling them to get the fuck out my land and give me my land back. Let's see what else we got here. Pledging of goods, right? And that's what they do. You have the IMF, International Monetary System or Fund, comes into a nation, sees that they have a so-called problem. lends them money and the promise to pay back with interest, knowing damn well that the reason why they're getting the money is because they can't pay it back, and with the pledge that if you don't pay it, then we're going to take over this land or this resource, and so on and so forth. Hence, load of debt which one has contracted. And how did they contract this debt? By accepting this dollar. And that's why when America made in 1944 through the Bretton Woods agreement or that meeting, when they made the dollar the world reserve currency, they contracted to the world that this dollar, they will have to pay for everything in that dollar, which means that they will have to take on a debt to themselves. All right. Then it says here, the meaning taken is that of accumulation of pledges, meaning a bunch of pledges or collateral or interest that is compiled one on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other. And these devils know that when you have someone in debt and they can't pay, they know the scriptures that, that makes that nation become tributary, or slaves, debt slaves to the people that lend this money out because they can't pay it. You see? Let's see the word ibat. See, lend, fetch. And what does the scripture say? That the borrower is servant to the lender. Who is the borrower? The people that borrow the money. And the lender is who? The international banking families. And the debt is owed to them. You see the so-called national debt that's owed to the international bankers who established this Federal Reserve System in America. All right. So let's go from there. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes, and we can get ready to close up. Ecclesiastes 9 and 11. I return and saw unto the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill. But time and chance happeneth to them all. So every nation on the planet had a time to rule. And certain nations had empire status that they ruled for a certain period of time. Damn, fucked up. All right, so you know what? Let me go. The other one was Ecclesiastes 3. And then Ecclesiastes 8. I want to hit these three. Oh, these other two. So let's go back. Matter of fact, Ecclesiastes 8 and 6. Because to every purpose there is time and judgment. Therefore, the misery of man is great upon the earth. So everything on the earth has every purpose has a time and a judgment. A time for them to rule, and then a time for them to be judged. And that's why when we go back to the third chapter, it says to 3 and 1, Ecclesiastes 3 and 1, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. And now is a time of what? Judgment for America. This is why, in the last days, beginning pretty much like in the mid 1900s, when Elder Abba Bivens was on the scene, going into the 60s, into the late 60s, unto the present, you had the prophets and have the prophets out on the streets. And what was the main thing that the prophet said? They took up a proverb against the king of Babylon and said, how has the golden city ceased? Because now it's time for you to go down. So you were warned, you were weighed, you were found wanting, you were put on trial. Your sentence is being read right now, and soon the Lord is going to judge you. You like to judge people? Well, the Lord is going to judge you, because the Lord said that the wicked shall not be acquitted. Let me hit this one here. Matter of fact, before I hit that one, let me see if there's any more here. Okay, that was this was actually a little better. External pressure can unravel the taut fabric of power and dominance, right? And illusion can become the seeds of its undoing as complacency. right? Because once it's just like you have, you heard the term, Jake, you heard the term, when someone first gets into something, yeah, you could tell by his tenacity and his, drive and his discipline that he was hungry, you know, and that hunger drove him to be better and to conquer, whatever challenges came his way in order for him to accomplish his goals. But then after he got there, he started, living the good life, spending money, living lavish, drinking too much, eating garbage, being with these women. He lost that he lost that hunger, so he became complacent. You see, hey, one thing the elder Apostle Gabar always says, is that comfort is the enemy. Whenever you become too comfortable, that is the enemy. Indeed, it says, so the seeds of its undoing as complacency, overreach, because America has overreached. Their currency is devalued, their military is spread thin. There's a low morale among the troops.
Yeah, and manhood is under attack.
Mm-hmm.
So the majority of the people in the military are soft.
Oh yeah,
Are soft, because there's this they're pushing this feminine qualities among men.
mm-hmm.
So even if the military, even if more people in this country decide to join the military, it will still be a weak military because being a man has become weak in this country.
Yep.
Manhood has been under masculinity has been under attack for years now. And to where now when they call these men to so-called men to war, they're crying. They're holding their rifles, calling mommy, mommy. They're hugging their rifles, calling mommy.
Yeah, the black men have that born to fight.
Yep. So that's these are mighty men, and the real mighty men have enough sense to know not to join the military. The real mighty men that's in this country that still have the masculinity about them. They may do some type of training, martial arts or whatever. Those type of men, those mighty men that are here in this country, they have enough sense to not join the military. They don't want nothing to do with the military.
Yeah, and they say there's a saying, they don't make them like they used to. You had them older, like Edomites and Jakes, that was rough in the military. They're looking at this generation like, my goodness.
Yeah.
What is this place become?
Yeah, a lot of those drill sergeants are like leaving because they're like, man, as soon as they raise their voice, people are crying, pulling out stress cards.
Yep.
It's hard to come up in that like as a drill sergeant. You trying to honor the old drill sergeants that were before you.
Yeah.
And you can't honor their legacy because the world is so pussified now. The world is so soft.
Yep.
Yeah, that as soon as you try to toughen somebody up, they break. There's no such thing as tempering anymore.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as hardening. People break. Just as soon as pressure hit them, they break into shivers.
That's them GMOs.
Yeah.
So it says, the very strategies that ensure an empire's expansion can become the seeds of its undoing as complacency, overreach, and resistance take hold.
Yeah, resistance.
And that's why people are coming against this place. That's why it speaks about the uproars of the people. It says, despite their eventual fall, the remnants of these once great entities continue to shape our modern world in profound ways. Right. That's why America is set up like the ancient Roman Empire, because it's prophecy. From the foundations of contemporary political boundaries to the enduring cultural exchange that have enriched the contents of gives you a whole bunch of stuff. I just happened to run across it. So if you type in the rise and fall of empires, examining their enduring cultural legacies, you should be able to get it. This is on Connolly Cove. I'm gonna save this bad boy. This Lord's will, I'm gonna go through this and see if there's anything else I could glean from this. So I'm gonna leave you with Second Ezra and then see if the elder Dimash wants to say a few words. Second Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And this is why we see that. And like the lessons that the Spirit been having me do like the last 3 days or so, dealing with the nuclear destruction and the missiles and all that, never in, and this is a part of measuring the times. Like Elder Pastor always speaks about, guys fall out because they no longer see any they don't see, pretty much they don't see the scripture speaking. They're not watching, and ultimately they're just not part of the elect. But if you really sit down and you analyze and meditate on what the scriptures are saying, and you look at the world and the situation that it's in, it's totally just what the scriptures are saying.
Man, it's what are they? What's that? 4K?
It's crystal. Yeah. Because never in the history of man had they ever had the technology that they have today to be able to destroy a city or a country by way of thermonuclear destruction. Mm-hmm. And this all started from just a theory that these scientists had. The Lord, put that in their mind. Mm-hmm. And like this devil, J. Robert Oppenheimer, he was plagued, because he would see the elements, he would see everything coming together, and he would see, the cause and effect of this devastating power that they created, and the people skin everybody dying, because that is the ultimate destroyer of worlds. So it says, measured out of time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Part of those signs are, all of the things that are going on prophetically in the world, but also how this word is being brought out to the world by way of the internet. This is something that they never had before. Back in the days, you had horse and buggy. You had people that had to walk. You had the posts, which they would carry mail and all that. Different places. If you wanted to get a message, you had to either send it. You could send it, by horseback. You could send someone to walk. But it took time to get, a letter or a message from one point to the other. Today, you could type something or you could send a text here in America, and someone in Japan or Australia or, on that side of the world, Russia can get your text in a matter of seconds. That's another part of the prophecies, that the scripture spoke about, that they never had that type of technology before. See? Now it existed as far as the Urim and the Thummim, but man didn't tap into that. Until the Lord gave him the ability to set up these different towers, set up, satellites, and be able to broadcast these signals across the world. And even that took time. So it says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, which we see plenty of those, and uproars of the people in the world, these are these riots and protests, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning.
They are speaking of it right now. And
that's it. Yeah.
It's like back then it was saying that then you will know, but it hadn't happened in that time.
At the end it shall speak.
Yep. So now that's an example of what the apostle was saying. It's people get disenchanted, or not disenchanted, but they get unmotivated. They get what's the word?
Disenchanted.
Yeah. Well, yeah, pretty much disenchanted because they lost that passion to watch.
The interest.
No, yeah, it don't strike them anymore. You know. But man, hey, these prophecies are coming to life day by day, man.
Yeah, because he definitely losing attention.
Yep. Hold on. I'm Zephaniah.
What's that?
I'm gonna give this scripture.
So let me read a couple more verses here. It says, "For like all that is for like all that is made in the world has a beginning and an end, right? And better is the ending of a thing than the beginning, and the end is manifest." And this is how we know that the end is being manifest today. You know, the end of the age, the end of Esau's age, and we know that the scriptures say that Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. That's why these devils are trying to do away with Esau and the Edomites, because they know if the world was to come to the realization of who the Edomites are, then they will realize that we're in the end of the world, outside of every other evidence that's out there. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works and ending in effects and signs. And we see that happening right now throughout the planet. You said you had something?
Yeah, this is Zephaniah 3 and 5. It says, "The just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity." It says, "Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust know no shame." So the Lord is showing you every day that these prophecies are coming to pass. Every day I see something that I can relate to the scriptures. Then, like, you know, just in my daily life.
Yep.
Not even including just the news. You know, the news, and that's really forward in prophecy. But like I'm talking about things that I see in society. You know, every day there's things that are speaking life into these words, the Lord's words, man. You know.
Yeah, because it's a living document.
Yep, exactly. So we're reminded day by day that the words of the Lord are true and real. So if anybody fall out of the truth, it's because it's their own undoing. It's because they're
not part of the elect.
They gave up. You know, they gave up on the Lord, man. Lord, it's not happening in the time that I expected it to. So you know, I'm tired.
Yeah,
of serving you. I don't want to do it no more.
It's not up to you.
Yeah.
It says, "Wake not my love till he please."
Yeah.
Was that it, D-Mash, on that?
That was it.
All right. So pretty much, you know, you want to say any closing words?
Hey, no, just, you know, just stay focused, man. That's all, man. Like, you know, that's pretty much it.
Stay inspired.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with that, you know, we pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified, you know, and the water for you brothers, all the precepts y'all putting up. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai brought a thumb to all the sincere out there, all the men of the Lord, you know, and, you know, you few sisters that are still hanging on in there, you know, and I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time we say Shalom.